Reading Rainbow is made possible by a grant from the National Science Foundation, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the financial support of viewers like you, and by a grant from Kellogg's, who reminds you to take time each day for reading.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Should make a perfect wall. And let's see here. The perfect front porch. Hi, I'm just gathering some materials so we can build a house. My friends need a place to live. I thought it would be fun to make them one. You know, everybody needs a home, a place to eat, sleep, take shelter, maybe even raise a family. But you can't just plunk yourself anywhere. Here's a story about someone who goes house hunting and checks out plenty of real estate before hunkering down. It's called, Is This a House for Hermit Crab?
Is This a House for Hermit Crab? By Megan McDonald. Illustrated by S.D. Schindler. Read by Eartha Kitt. Hermit Crab was forever growing too big for the house on his back. It was time to find a new house. He crawled up out of the water, looking for something to hide in, where he would be safe from the prickle-pined fish. He stepped along the shore, by the sea, in the sand. Scratch, 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 until he came to a rock. Is this a house for Hermit Crab? Turning himself around, Hermit Crab backed his hind legs beneath the rock. The rock would not budge. It was too heavy. So he stepped along the shore, by the sea, in the sand. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, until he came to a rusty old tin can. Is this a house for Hermit Crab? When he tried to walk with the can on his back, it bumped and clunked and bumped and clunked. It was too noisy. So he stepped along the shore, by the sea, in the sand. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, until he came to a piece of driftwood. Is this a house for Hermit Crab? Hermit Crab crawled deep inside the rounded hollow at one end. It was too dark. So he stepped along the shore, by the sea, in the sand. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, until he came to a small plastic pail. Is this a house for Hermit Crab? Climbing up towards the rim, oops, he fell right in. He clawed and he clawed until he climbed out. It was too deep. So he stepped along the shore, by the sea, in the sand. Scratch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, came to a nice round hole in the sand. Is this a house for Hermit Crab? He poked his head down into the opening. A huge pair of eyes blinked back at him. Hermit Crab shivered as he scurried away from the big fiddler crab, peering out of the burrow. It was too crowded. So he stepped along the shore by the sea in the sand. Scratch, 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 until he came to a fishing net. Is this a house for Hermit Crab? Poking his claws into the heap, he got tangled and caught. Hermit Crab wriggled and wriggled until he found his way out of the net. It had too many holes. So he stepped along the shore by the sea in the sand. Scratch, 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 scratch. All of a sudden, a gigantic wave tossed and tumbled pebbles and sand over Hermit Crab's head. He swirled and whirled with the tide and was washed back out to sea. Sleeker than a shark, the prickle-pine fish darted from its hiding place in the tall seaweed. Every spine of its back stood straight as a steeple. Mouth open wide, it headed right for Hermit Crab. Hermit Crab raced across the ocean floor. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, scratch. Scurrying behind the first creature he saw. It was a sea snail, and he hoped it would hide him, but the shell was empty. The shell was empty! Hermit Crab scrambled inside as quick as a flash and clapped his claw over the opening in the shell. The prickle-pine fish circled the snail shell 3 times, but he could not catch sight of the crab he had been chasing. He glided off in search of something else to eat. When all seemed still and quiet, Hermit Crab snuggled comfortably down into his new shell. It was not too heavy, not too noisy, not too dark, and not too deep. It was not too crowded and did not have too many holes. At last, Hermit Crab had found a new home, and it fit just right.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. As Hermit Crab found out, your house has to be right for you. And who you are determines what you need. Since my friends are birds, wrens about yay high, they don't need a big or fancy place, just one that's safe and cozy and will protect them from bad weather. Now, of course, they're going to need a front door. So, make my mark here. So let's just cut out a small round hole that'll let the wrens in, but keep the squirrels and bigger birds out. That looks good. You know, every animal has its own dream house, be it hive, nest, tunnel, or den. So here are some digs you might not want to curl up in, but their owners think they're fit for a king.
Lifestyles of the wild and tameless. To a bat, this cave is just about the best spot to hang out in, especially if you like living with all your family and all your friends close by. There are 20 million bats here, and always room for one more. But if you think you'd get more privacy living in these holes, think again. This is a huge apartment complex of sand martins, and with beak and claw, the birds dig holes in the sand themselves. At last, a place where you can be home alone. A baby kangaroo just climbs on into its mama's pouch, gets real comfortable, and goes along for the ride. Hey, are we there yet? What kind of home looks like a tree stump but isn't? Looks like a fence but isn't? And just might be 20 feet high. It's a termite mound, built by a colony of termites out of dirt and their very own saliva. Hello? Who is it? An owl, living inside a tree. Woo! Woo! It's not unusual for birds to build nests, but these birds, weaver birds, actually weave homes out of leaves and grass, making little thatched houses that dangle from tree branches. And if it behooves you to live on the side of a rocky cliff, perhaps you'd like this neighborhood where the ibex lives. Do come prepared with hard, ridged feet, because in this home you'll be expected to climb the walls. Before you stop, put your feet up and enjoy the view.
There. Better check the plan to see what's next. Let's see. Oh, right. Okay. Hey! That's really beginning to come together now. Of course, animals don't need to follow a plan. They know instinctively what to do. They use materials from nature and tools they have on hand. And some work so hard, they really sink their teeth into their jobs.
Like the beaver, the greatest animal architect of them all. This beaver is piling up branches to make a dam. The dam will hold back enough water to create a pond, the perfect spot for a beaver's home. But to build a dam and a home, a beaver needs lots of branches and logs. They start by gnawing at trees and cutting them down with their sharp front teeth. Timber! Looks good. Next, the beaver drags the branches down to the water, and it instinctively knows where each branch should go. Small twigs and mud help pack it all down. Then off they go to get the next branch. Beavers are excellent swimmers, and they spend most of their lives in the water. See how thick their fur is and how their webbed feet propel them? They steer with their flat, broad tails. It's like having a built-in rudder. The entrance to the beaver's home or lodge is underwater, so only the beavers can get in. Each family has a cozy little house where the babies, or kits, are warm and well protected. While Mom and the kits eat, Dad is outside doing some home repairs. But soon, the whole family will gather for dinner. They like leaves and the bark off trees, which they nibble just like corn on the cob. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. The bear is one of the beaver's greatest enemies. But the walls of the lodge are so thick, there's no way the bear can harm the beavers. Oh well, better just give up and go home, and leave these master architects safe and sound in their perfectly constructed home. There. Now, I'm just going to put a few twigs and leaves in here to sort of get their nest started. Not too much. I'm sure they're going to want to do a little decorating of their own. Yeah, you know, I can't wait to have a family of wrens living in my yard. I already have squirrels and chipmunks and insects, and I love having animals for neighbors. But you don't have to live in the country to have critters nearby. It's hard to believe, but way up here among the skyscrapers, right in the heart of the city, there are peregrine falcons living on rooftops and ledges of buildings that tower above the ground. Peregrine falcons are majestic birds, but they're also an endangered species. Their survival in the city depends on people like Chris Natareski and Barbara Allen Laux, scientists whose job it is to protect the birds and take care of them. When Chris and Barbara go to work, they go up, 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 sometimes up to 40 stories high to perform the dangerous but thrilling job of looking after the peregrines.
What we try to do is keep track of peregrine falcons and figure out ways to help them.
To help the peregrine falcon come back to the same numbers that it once lived at here in the eastern United States.
This particular bird looks pretty big, very aggressive. Most likely a female. I'll check the band sizes.
Just because the baby birds are screaming doesn't mean we're hurting them. All it means is that they're very afraid. We don't hurt the birds at all. We're very, very careful with these birds.
Here's the mother falcon watching her nest that was placed here by the scientists. See the box Chris is leaning into? It was put out on this ledge so the falcons would have a safe and sheltered place to lay their eggs.
In a sense, the city is a natural habitat to the peregrine falcon. The tall buildings, the tall bridges with the nice ledges, they actually resemble, they're just like the ledges you would find on a natural cliff site where the falcon, before bridges and buildings were around, would be known to nest.
Wait a minute. Did Chris say buildings and bridges? Could you really find peregrine falcons making homes on bridges? It's surprising, but true. The steel and concrete underside of this busy city bridge is a favorite place for falcons to raise their families. And that means the scientists must climb out to this treacherous place to care for the peregrines. Today, they're banding the birds, giving them identification bracelets. The babies object, and their mother does too. But the bands will help the scientists keep track of the birds and learn more about how to help them.
Just to make sure, what we'll do is we'll match up the band size once again. I'm just going to put it on before I finalize it. I want to put it on, make sure it's nice and loose around the tarsus. Have to be very careful. Their bones are still developing in these young birds. 98831. Okay, that band fits nicely. Why don't we inspect the...
After they're banded, each hatchling gets a checkup.
Very sharp, yeah.
Chris looks into their mouths, like this, and then spreads their wings to check for lice or disease.
And it looks actually very clean right now.
Luckily, this bird is doing just fine.
Put a little bit of spray if we can have a glove.
The mother is getting very angry, and there's always the danger that she'll attack the scientists.
We only go out and bother them one time a year when we put the bands on.
And it's worth it because in the end, we'll get important information about these birds and where they travel and how long they live.
Thanks to the courageous efforts of scientists like Chris and Barbara, these peregrine falcons live among us as our neighbors in the city.
I think it's beautiful, a work of art. But a house isn't a home until you put a roof over its head. So, let's put a lid on it. You know, one of the most amazing things about animals is where they live. And just to hammer this point home, here are a few books that really hit the nail on the head. But you don't have to take my word for it.
Hi. Everybody knows that most animals make their homes in the country. But did you know that all kinds of birds live in the city? You can find out more about them in this great book, Urban Roosts. Lots of birds do very well in the city. Let me show you some examples. Look at that sparrow nesting in a traffic light. Barn owls actually lay their eggs in flat, protected spots. I always thought they nested in trees. There's a very interesting bird called a chimney swift. I bet you can guess where they like to hang around. Snowy owls like to be where airplanes land. Maybe because it reminds them of their natural habitat. I'm Sean, and I enjoyed learning some of the interesting facts about birds living in the city. And no matter where you live, you'll enjoy reading Urban Roosts.
Now, I know all of you have seen squirrels before. They're very common and also really neat. And they're always on the go. Read more in this book, Busy, Busy Squirrels. There are many different kinds of squirrels. The most interesting squirrel to me is a flying squirrel. It sleeps in the daytime and is busy all night long. Did you know chipmunks are squirrels too? Prairie dogs aren't dogs at all. They're part of the squirrel family. I'd like to tell you more about squirrels, but I'm very busy. So read it for yourself. And remember, Ebony says, busy, busy squirrels is well worth your time.
Spider's web tells how a garden spider catches its food. Some people may think this is gross, but I think it's amazing. A garden spider needs a web to catch its food. There are several steps to make a web. In this book, there's a drawing and a photograph of each step. A spider's web begins with a single thread, but the spider doesn't stop there. The outside frame looks like a pentagon. These threads look like the spokes of a wheel. Wow, check out the spiral. Pretty cool.
My name is James Noble, and I think this book is fascinating. If you like spiders as much as I do, you're sure to get wrapped up in spider's web.
Magnificent. Irresistible. Could a wren ask for more? There's a comfy little bedroom inside, a porch or perch for sitting, and a patio for outdoor entertaining. I officially declare this house a home. Now, you know what they say in real estate. Location is everything. This spot is perfect. There's plenty of light and good access for the birds. This is going to look great here. Yeah. Oh, I definitely want to make sure that the birds feel welcome. Now, let's give those birds a call and let them know there's no place like home. I'll see you next time.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Today's Reading Rainbow books are Is This a House for Hermit Crab by Megan McDonald, illustrated by S.D. Schindler, published by Orchard Books. Urban Roosts by Barbara Bash, published by Sierra Club Books, Little Brown. Busy, Busy Squirrels by Colleen Stanley Bear, published by Cobble Hill Books, an affiliate of Dutton Children's Books, a division of Penguin Books USA, Incorporated. Spider's Web by Christine Back and Barry Watts, a stopwatch book, published by Silver Burdette Press.
Funding for Reading Rainbow is made possible by a grant from Kellogg's, who urges you to explore the joys of reading. Funding for the series was also provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the National Science Foundation, and the financial support of viewers like you.